People who attend my puppy kindergarten classes have a time for questions and answers. And of course, one of the most important questions that gets asked every time is, how do I house train my puppy? Well, we go into that in depth, but the biggest problem is the small breed dogs. I find over the years that it is the small breed dogs that really have problems with house training. I can't tell you the number of house visits that I've had to go to for dogs that are not house trained. And I'm talking about dogs that are over 2 years, sometimes 4 years, 6 years, 7 years. And I get the call from the owner saying, I really need to get my dogs house trained. And then you find out how old the dogs are. They've been soiling in the house for all these years. But now it's time they want those dogs house trained. Usually it's because they're moving house and they don't want to mess the new house, or visitors are coming, or they just have had enough of the mess and the smell in their house. So now I get called in and I've got to perform a magic miracle by getting these dogs house trained. Usually they want it to have happened yesterday. And they are quite shocked to find that actually the process can take quite a long time because their dogs are older. Why are small dogs so difficult to house train? And I'm talking about the toy poms, the Yorkies, the Maltese, Chihuahuas. These small breed dogs are particularly difficult to house train. But I believe the biggest problem in house training a small breed dog is the owner. The owner just doesn't put in the time and effort to ensure that their puppy is going to get house trained. I hear every excuse under the sun. Oh, the dog was upstairs and it was quite a hassle. It didn't want to go down the stairs. Oh, it's just a little dog and it's only a little mess, so we left it. And excuse after excuse is given out about why they didn't house train the dog when it was a puppy. So the owner needs to be consistent and calm. I've talked about house training before, but the biggest problem is these small breed dogs. If those small breed dogs were like a German Shepherd or a Rottweiler, or think of a Great Dane puppy, those owners would put a lot of time and effort to ensure that they take their dog out as often as possible to get it house trained. Because believe you me, the size of the mess of those large breed dogs is huge, and the owner is not going to like stepping in it, the smell, the inconvenience of cleaning it up. So those dogs get house trained. It's the little dogs that don't. The other thing about house training small breed dogs is we sadly live in a society where we do have maids or gardeners or somebody who cleans up after the dog. Now, if it's an inside dog, like a small breed dog, it's the maids that are left to clean up. I've seen some very exasperated maids in my time going to houses who've also got tired of cleaning up after these small dogs because the owner just says, oh, well, there's a mess, clean it up. Owners need to be consistent and take that small breed dog outside. Yes, it doesn't like getting its feet wet when it's raining, or it's cold in winter, but you have to persevere. The problem is that the smell is now inside the house, so that young dog, as a puppy, or the older dog, is going to continue going back to the same area over and over again. And thus the smell now gets really strong and the dog is in a pattern. So you have to break a pattern, go back as if that dog is now a young puppy, and start again. And you also have to barricade off areas. Don't allow the dog to just go into certain areas and use that carpet over and over and over again. You have to break patterns, and you have to consistently take that puppy outside. I keep saying it. You have to be consistent as an owner. And unfortunately, it's the little dogs that get left. The owners don't take them out consistently. But if it was a Great Dane, that owner would be taking that dog outside consistently. You don't want that large mess in your house. What you can do with small breed dogs is perhaps get a cat litter tray, put some chunks of grass in it, and teach the dogs to go on that little litter tray. Or you can even just put sand or cat sand and make the dog use the litter tray. But you can't have these dogs soiling all over the house. Carpets, floors. I've been into houses where the smell was appalling. And no wonder the owner suddenly wanted it to be fixed. But you're now fixing a problem where the dog has done it for years. If you have a small breed dog, think that it actually is a large breed dog and make the effort to continually take the dog outside. And if it spends a lot of time inside, barricade off areas so that dog cannot just go wherever it wants and mess in the house. The only person who's going to get this right is the owner. I cannot magically come in and wave a wand and suddenly those dogs are going to be house trained. The older the dog is, the more difficult it is, and it takes more time and effort to house train the dog. So get it right as a puppy, you will always have a nice house trained dog. Just one final thought on this house training a small dog. If a small dog has food left out all day, this will mean that that dog will probably never get house trained, because most dogs will eat and go and do something. Now, if that food's there all the time, you never know when the dog's eating, and you can't take the dog outside to be consistent. So rather get those small dogs, just like big dogs, into a routine of 2 meals a day, as soon as they've eaten, outside. But unfortunately, most owners believe that small dogs need their food left out all day. Then I'm afraid you're not going to get your dog house trained. So another good way to get a small dog house trained is to get it onto regular feeding and regularly taking it outside. You can get a small breed dog to be house trained. It just takes time and commitment from the owner.